Let the record reflect that we've now been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Ms. Andrea Mazzola is on the witness stand undergoing direct examination by Mr. Goldberg. Good morning again, Ms. Mazzola.
Good morning.
Ms. Mazzola, you're reminded that you were still under oath. Mr. Goldberg, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were talking about the substrate controls, I believe, before we left. Is it necessary, do you always have to collect a substrate control in every situation when you collect a stain using the LAPD procedures?
If it is possible to collect one, we collect one.
Okay, well, when would it not be possible? Can you give us an example?
If, say, the blood covers the entire area, if it's a small piece of stone or wood or whatever, then there would be no surface area to collect a control off of.
You mean if there was no uncontaminated area?
Correct.
I wanted to ask you a couple questions more about the Griffin hearing before we continue with the Bundy collection. This hearing in August of 1994. When did you first become aware that you were going to testify in that hearing?
It was that morning.
And how was it that you became aware of it?
I was already at work in the toxicology section, and I got a phone call from Michelle Kessler, the lab director.
Had you ever testified before that as an expert witness in court?
In toxicology cases, yes.
Can you give us an approximation of how many times?
5 to 7.
Okay. And when she told you that you were going to be needed in court, how much time went by between then and when you actually showed up in court?
Probably not more than 10 minutes or so.
Did she tell you what case it was going to be on?
Yeah, she said the case, so.
Okay. So you figured it was this?
All right.
All right. And you didn't have any advance warning before she called that you were going to
No.
be testifying? When you got to court, what happened?
I was led up, well, I should say led down to the 9th floor, and Mr. Matheson was coming out.
Hold on for a second. And who's Mr. Matheson?
He was the serology supervisor at the time,
Okay, so he was coming out of where?
out of the courtroom.
And what happened?
And he asked me if I had my notes, a binder, and I said, what notes? So he gave me his binder of notes, and I was brought in.
Did you have any opportunity to review Mr. Matheson's notes before you went into the courtroom?
No,
Did you know how his binder was organized?
no,
When you were brought in, were you brought in for the purposes of testifying?
yes.
And did you, were you called by the defense or prosecution?
I was called by the defense.
Did you have an opportunity to discuss with the defense beforehand what questions they were going to be asking you?
No,
Or discuss any aspect of the case with the prosecution in advance?
no,
So you were a criminalist one, and you're testifying on the Simpson case. You didn't have a chance to speak with the questioner in advance or review your notes. How did you feel?
Sustained question.
How did you feel at that moment in time? Were you nervous?
nervous and thoroughly alone.
Okay. And had you had occasion even to think about the case mentally and trying to go through and remember what had happened prior to getting up on the witness stand?
No,
Objection, Your Honor, it's supposed to an opportunity to.
Overruled. Proceed.
Were you regularly thinking about the case prior to then?
no, I wasn't.
Right. Now, at the Griffin hearing, were you asked some questions regarding who collected what at the Bundy location?
Yes.
I'd like to ask you some questions on page 735 of the transcript. Lines 12 through lines 26.
Just one moment.
Excuse me, yes, with the corporation.
Do I need to bring the transcript?
Yes. Thank
Actually, I'll start on 734, line 27, through 735, line 26. Are you ready, counsel? Do you have that? 27. Question, and which, I'm sorry, at Bundy again, were there certain bloodstains that you collected and other bloodstains that were collected by Mr. Fung? Answer, yes. Question, and which bloodstains were collected by Mr. Fung? Answer, I believe he collected the red stains that were near the shoe prints that were made on the walkway. Question, would you please look at your notes and tell me which numbers those are? Question, and when you say that, you say he collected the actual foot shoe prints, or he collected alleged drops that were near the shoe prints? Answer, he, if I remember correctly, took swatches of the red stains that were constituting the footprint itself. Question, can you tell us which ones those were, please? Answer, property items 55 and 56. Question, and that is it? Answer, yes. Question, all other blood stains at the Bundy crime scene were collected by you, ma'am? Answer, yes. Do you recall that testimony?
Somewhat.
Okay. And since testifying at this hearing, was there an occasion when you and Dennis Fung went over the crime scene identification checklist again to try to make notations as to who physically collected which items?
Review, excuse me, overruled.
Yes.
All right. And have you since had an occasion to think about yourself, what happened at the scene and who did what?
Yes.
And did you in fact do, other than on stain 55 and 56, the shoe prints, most of the physical swatching on the other stains?
Most of the physical swatching, yes.
All right. And since then, have you come up with the two recollections that you've testified to on stain 47 and the item with the berry?
Yes.
Now, at the time that you testified at this Griffin hearing, did you believe that all of the photographs taken of the bloodstains had rulers in them, or scales in them?
I believe that they had, yes.
What made you think that?
So I had seen the photographer lay down a scale on one of the drops, so I assumed that he was going to do it for all of them.
Did you since look at the crime, have you since had an opportunity to review the crime scene photographs?
Yes.
Had you had an opportunity to review the crime scene photographs before testifying at the Griffin hearing?
No.
And in reviewing the crime scene photographs, did you see a scale on every single one of the photographs?
No, I did not.
All right. I'd like to direct your attention to an exhibit that we've previously marked as Defense 1081. And it's page 2. This is the crime scene identification checklist, Your Honor. Bundy. Ms. Pizzola, do you recognize this to be part of the crime scene identification checklist for Bundy?
Yes,
And whose handwriting is on that list?
mine.
Now, do you see the notation that says, has the scene been altered? If so, by whom and how?
Yes,
Did you write that question mark in there, or did someone else do it?
I did.
And why did you do that?
Because at the time, I did not know if the scene had been altered. There's an assumption that it had because the coroners were there.
All right. Now, is it your understanding as a criminalist that you have a responsibility, or that the criminalist has a responsibility to make inquiries of anyone in terms of whether the scene was altered?
The criminalist really does not do any investigative work.
Okay, but does the criminalist talk to the investigating officer?
Yes,
So would the criminalist perhaps ask about questions about what happened prior to their arrival on the scene?
yes.
But when you say investigative work, what are you talking about when you use that term?
Actually talk to the individual people to find out if they personally had moved anything, where they had been.
You mean in terms of a more formal witness
Right.
interview? Do the criminalists do that at Los Angeles Police Department?
No.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to talk about some of the items that were collected in and around the caged-off area at the Bundy location. And first, the glove. I think it's People's 164. Excuse me, it's 77A for identification. Your Honor, maybe I could just put a piece of butcher paper down on the little table over there so we can take this out. Mr. Zola, I'd like you to, after putting the gloves on, remove People 77 and describe what you're doing for the record.
Okay. Do you have a knife or,
Do you have a preference?
no? I am opening the sealed envelope. I am removing the paper bag. And I'm opening the bag and removing the glove.
Now, do you recognize any of the writing on that paper bag?
Yes,
Whose writing is that?
Yeah, it looks like most of it is my writing.
Okay. And is that the paper bag into which the glove was placed at the Bundy location?
Yes.
Now, have you had an opportunity to look at some videotapes showing yourself collecting a glove and also a cap at the Bundy location?
Yes.
Prior to seeing those videotapes, did you have an independent recollection of who collected those items?
I knew that I collected most of the items in that area.
Did you recall specifically who collected the glove prior to viewing the videotape?
Specifically, no.
All right. Did the viewing of the videotape refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Now, prior to this crime scene, well, let me back up for a second. When did you actually start taking the criminalistics courses at school, the criminalistics portions of your formal education?
Oh, let's see. 1987, 1988, somewhere in there.
So had you been involved in the forensic science community then for approximately 6 years or so prior to collecting this glove?
Sustain, rephrase the question.
How long had you been involved in the forensic science community prior to collecting this glove?
I had contact with them since beginning my forensic courses at school.
And that was how many years?
Six, seven, somewhere in there.
I would object to move to strike. It's totally irrelevant whether you should have contact.
Overruled.
All right. And can you show us now the technique that is used to collect a piece of evidence such as this glove by placing it back in the bag? I know it's sort of wrinkled, but maybe you can just
Okay,
do it for us.
after the photo ID number is written on the bag, corresponding to the number given the glove, the bag is opened, and you want to pick up the glove in a secure grip, but touching as small an area as possible. And just put it in and fold the bag closed securely. And that's it.
That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it.
And did you feel qualified to do that after being involved in the forensic science community for about 6 years?
Yes.
Overruled.
Now, I'd like to show you the people's next exhibit. I think it's, let's see, 78. It's the cap.
Yeah.
All right, we want to place that back in the envelope.
Oh.
Thank you.
Can you now retrieve people 78 for identification and show us what you're doing?
Okay, just removing the paper bag from the envelope. Opening the bag. And retrieving the hat.
And what is that item?
That is a knit watch cap.
And who recovered that from the location?
I did.
Do you recognize the writing that's on the packaging?
Yes,
Whose is that?
and that's my writing.
Okay. You can replace that describe what you're doing for the record.
Thank you.
Equal 78's been replaced, Mr. Goldberg.
Ms. Mazzola, does there appear to be any trace evidence or anything that was left on that butcher paper?
I don't see anything.
Or perhaps we can just dispose of it then.
There's a trash can right here.
Thank you.
Mr. Goldberg.
Okay. I'd now like to show you a videotape that we've previously marked as Defense 1083 for identification. And then I'll ask you some questions about it. Oh, Can we have the lights dimmed a little bit? I think we can get
One
better
day.
resolution that way. Now, thank you. Ms. Mazzola, did Defense 1083 depict you at the crime scene collecting some evidence?
Yes, it does.
What were you collecting in that
I was
tape?
collecting the hat and glove at Bundy.
Okay, and did you change gloves in between collecting the hat and the glove?
No.
Why not?
The hat and the glove at Bundy were touching each other. They were not in two completely separate areas. They were in physical contact with each other.
Okay. And when you were at a crime scene and collecting evidence, is it your habit to, if you see something on your gloves or see some blood or trace on your gloves, to change them?
Yes.
So the glove and the hat were in close proximity?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to show you another exhibit that's been marked as People's 192 for identification, and then I'd like to ask you some questions about that. Okay, if we can stop for just a second. I would like to direct your attention to the dark area that is in approximately the middle of the screen. And for the record, this is just shortly after Mr. Fung put down an item and then disappeared up the steps. He's no longer depicted in this frame.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, we can stop for just a second. We've stopped on a card that I think says 103, and it appears to depict part of the glove on the left side of the screen and part of the knit cap on the right side of the screen. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is this what you were referring to when you were saying that they were in close proximity?
Yes.
And why is that significant?
Well, any trace that I think would be moved from one to the other if you hadn't changed gloves and they were not in such close proximity, that would be more of a concern than if they're side by side like that.
Okay, and is this where they were at the time that you first saw them
Yes,
and when you collected them?
yes.
Okay, let's continue. Let's stop for a second. Now we have a photograph that has 3 evidence cards in it. Did you place those evidence cards down, or did someone else do it?
Someone else,
Who was that?
Mr. Fung.
And does this photograph depict the envelope and the glove and the watch cap, the cap, after the 3 evidence cards were placed down?
Yes.
Right, let's continue. Okay, now if we can stop for just a second. Again, you see that dark area that I directed your attention to on the first frame that we stopped on?
Yes.
And now, for the record, we're on a frame at the end of this collage that has a crime scene tape across the upper portion of the screen, Your Honor.
Yes, appears to be the step area, appears to be Mr. Fung wearing booties on the second and third steps.
Thank you. Now, with respect to the area, the dark area that I directed your attention to, do you know what that was?
No.
Was it the glove?
No.
Did you ever see the glove in any location while you were at the scene, other than as depicted in the still photography that we
No.
saw? Now I'd like to direct your attention to an item that we've marked as People's 32 for identification. And also 191 for identification. May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm showing you People's 32 for identification. Do you recognize what is in this envelope, or this plastic baggie, rather?
Yes.
What is that?
That appears to be the envelope that was found at Bundy.
Do you recognize any of the writing on the packaging?
Yes.
Whose is that?
Some of it is mine.
Who wrote item number 39 on there? Is that your writing?
That appears to be my writing.
And what about 104?
And that's mine.
Is 104 the photo?
Yes.
And directing your attention to People's 191 for identification, is this the same type of bag that was used in the Scientific Investigations Division?
Yes.
All right. Now, did you package at the scene the eyeglass envelope, the bloody envelope, into the packaging material, the paper bag that has the photo ID and item number ID on it?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I picked up the envelope wearing gloves in a small, relatively clean area and placed it in the bag, folded down the top.
Okay. And is the bag that it's placed in appear to be the same type as the one that I've just given you, the fresh one?
Just, yeah, brown paper bag.
All right. Now, perhaps we can see the clip of tape that's previously been marked as Defense 1082. I want you to look, have we already, maybe we can back it up again, very closely at the item that's being passed between yourself and Mr. Fung. Maybe we can just see that again. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right, we're stopping at frame 13, 34, 24.
It's a little blurry. Okay, that's fine. Is that the entire tape? Okay. Did you get a chance to take another look at that?
Yes, I caught a glimpse of it.
What?
I caught a glimpse of it.
Okay, have you seen this before?
Yes.
This footage? And is that item the bloody eyeglass envelope?
No.
Would you hand a bloody eyeglass, a bloody piece of evidence to Mr. Fung
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
No.
if he wasn't wearing gloves?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
He wasn't wearing gloves. Plus, I was the one that was packaging the evidence.
Okay. Do you know in what way Mr. Fung and you were working together at this time in terms of the evidence collection in this area? I'm referring to Defense 1082.
I was the one that was in the caged-in area picking up the larger items of evidence. Mr. Fung was handing me the bags, taking the bags from me as I was handing them out.
Do you know, why was it that the two of you didn't work in the cage simultaneously?
At that point, there were other pieces of evidence inside that had to be picked up, and there was not enough room for both of us to be in there without running the risk of hurting some of the evidence.
Okay, so only one of you was in there?
Correct.
That was you.
That was me.
And why is it that you would not hand an ungloved criminalist a bloody piece of evidence?
I wouldn't hand anybody anything bloody if they were not wearing gloves.
But is it for health reasons or for what?
Personal protection, right.
What kinds of problems are you now concerned about as a criminalist in terms of dealing with biological evidence at a crime scene?
Today, we have the various types of hepatitis, we have HIV, we have AIDS, we have all kinds of things that are showing up in biologicals.
Are criminalists in general pretty sensitive about the health issues that are involved in collecting biological evidence?
Very, very mindful of it.
Thank you. Now, do you recall at the Bundy location seeing any stains on a rear gate on the 13th?
I honestly don't even remember a rear gate.
Okay. Do you remember having a walkthrough with a detective at the beginning of your collection procedure?
I remember starting on a walkthrough, yes.
Do you know whether you went all the way back as, well, do you know where the rear gate is now?
Now I do, yes.
How?
From photographs, video.
Okay. When you went through the walkthrough, did you go back as far as the rear gate?
No.
Did Mr. Fung continue on with the walkthrough?
Yes,
without
he
you?
did.
Okay. And at the Bundy location, did any of the blood drops on the area that we referred to as the trail appear to have been stepped in?
No.
Approximately what time did you leave the Bundy location?
Oh, it was approximately 3:15 or so, 3 o'clock, 3:15.
All right. And where did you go after you left?
We went back to Rockingham.
Did you take the crime scene truck?
Yes.
And what would have you done with the gloves that you had been wearing at the Bundy location when you left?
They were taken off and put in the trash bag.
Before you left, did you do the same evidence inventory procedure that you've described?
Yes.
And do you have, do you have an independent recollection of exactly where that took place?
Not an exact recollection. I have an idea where it took place, but I can't be absolutely positive.
Was it outdoors?
It was outdoors, yes.
Can you tell us in terms of being towards the front of the Bundy location, and by that I mean the Bundy side, or to the rear towards the alley side?
It was up front.
All right. What time did you return to the Rockingham location?
Probably around 3:30 or so.
Do you have any notes with you that you can use to give us the time that you collected the first item of evidence once you returned to Rockingham in the afternoon?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us? Do you have it memorized, or do you need to
I don't
refer-
have it memorized
Right.
now.
Please tell us what you're referring to in order to give us that
Okay, I'm
information.
referring to the evidence collection sheet.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I would object. I would say that there has to be a proper foundation laid first before she can refresh her recollection as to whether she has independent recollection.
Well,
Okay. It says 1540,
So that's 3:40.
340.
Was the notation as to the time in your handwriting or Mr. Fung's?
My handwriting.
And when you made that notation, how did you do it? Did you ask someone or look at your watch or what?
I think I just glanced at my watch.
All right. And this first item was stain number 11,
Correct.
which was on which side of the house?
It was on the side of the house near the garage, on that end of the house.
That little narrow walkway
Right.
area? And that's outdoors?
That's outdoors.
All right. Now, I'd like to direct your attention back to some testimony at the Griffin hearing on page 758. Well, actually, 757, line 25 through 758, line 4. Line 25, and 758 to line 4.
do you have that, Mr. Newfeld? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed.
At the Griffin hearing, did you give the following answers to the following questions? Question, and what time did you get back to Rockingham, was it? Answer, right around 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. Question, how do you know it was about 4 o'clock? Answer, because of the time that is noted that we collected the sample in the foyer. Do you remember giving that testimony?
Yes.
Okay, so was this testimony that you got back there at 4 o'clock correct?
No.
And why did you testify that way?
Because I had a chance to glance at the notes as I was testifying.
All right, now I'd like to read you another passage that occurred just previously to that on page 757. Counsel, it's lines 12 through 15. (757, 12 through 15).
Proceed.
Just previously to that, did you give the following answer to this question? Question: so as soon as you got back to Rockingham, the first thing that you did was walk inside and lift item number 12, answer, after it was photographed. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So was item number 12, in fact, the first item that you collected?
No.
So why did you think that item number 12 was the first thing that you collected and that it was at 4 o'clock?
Because, as I said, I was just going off of the notes. I didn't have time to go through them and refresh my memory, and I looked at the wrong line.
Didn't you see number 11 at that time when you were testifying at the Griffin hearing and looking over the crime scene identification checklist?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. But based upon the crime scene identification checklist, was item number 11, in fact, the first stain that you collected in the afternoon?
Yes,
And who did the physical collection on that?
I did.
Now, did you in fact collect a stain number 12 in the foyer area of Rockingham?
Yes.
Perhaps we can see People's 169, which is the interior Rockingham map. Do you see this?
Bravo.
Okay, direct your attention to the photographs on this exhibit that are labeled with photograph numbers, photograph number 12, and the call-out line. Do those depict where this item was collected?
Yes, it does.
And this was the first interior item?
Correct.
And who did the physical collection in terms of the swatching of this item?
I did.
Was Mr. Fung watching you on this item?
Yes, he was.
Now, after collecting this item from the foyer area, where did you go in the location?
We started making our way upstairs, looking as we were going for any items of evidence.
So you collected downstairs first before going upstairs?
Correct.
And when you got upstairs, did you go to the master bedroom area of the house?
We did go there.
Did you see the item that's contained in photographs 13?
Yes, I did.
And where were they?
They were at the foot of the master bedroom bed.
Right. And did you also see the item that's depicted in the photographs that are labeled 14?
Yes, I
And what are you doing in this photograph? Photograph that shows you holding a Q-tip.
That is a simple presumptive test for blood.
Is that the phenolphthalein test? Now, if you look closely at that photograph in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that there's some clothing on the ground. Can you see that? It's right behind the shower door. No, the one that has you doing the presumptive test. The one that has photograph number 14.
Yes.
Do you recall how that clothing got there?
One of the detectives was looking through the clothing.
Was that while you and criminalist Fung were in this master bathroom, master bedroom area?
Yes, it was.
And prior to this detective looking at this item, where was the clothing?
Clothing was in a clothes hamper. Yeah, let me see that picture.
Okay. That's fine. You can resume your witness stand. So, when the detective took the items out of the hamper, did he ever put them back in the hamper that you saw, or did he just leave them on the floor?
I don't recall if you put them back or not.
But he did take them out and put them on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, you can take this down. Do you know how the towels got on the floor?
No, I don't.
Okay. Now, after collecting item number 12, what was the next item number that you collected, or that was collected in your presence?
May I check my
Yes.
notes? After item 12, item 13 was picked up.
And after item number 13, what was picked up?
Item 14,
And who physically collected item number 13?
Mr. Fung.
What time was item number 14 collected?
Approximately 1640.
And the record should reflect that Ms. Mazzola is referring to her notes.
Okay, yes. And were you referring to the crime scene identification
Yes, I
checklist?
was.
Now, is there a time for 13 on that list, or is it just 12 and 14?
Just 12 and 14.
Your Honor, I'd just like to clarify something before I ask my next question.
Yes, at the sidebar with the court clerk, please. sidebar so far.
Okay. 16 that were collected. Could just answer that, yes or no.
Yes.
Right. And what time were those items collected?
I thought at approximately 5 o'clock.
All right. And that was according to your crime scene identification
Correct.
checklist? May I just have one moment, Your Honor?
Certainly.
And can you tell us the location of where, using your crime scene identification checklist, these two items were located? Just the location,
Correct.
first of 15, then of 16.
15 was collected in a downstairs bathroom trash can. 16 was collected from a bench outside the front door.
Okay. Now, I'd like to show you another tape that we've marked as People's 186, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about it if you take a look at it.
Is this from Rockingham?
Yeah, it's the beta tape from Rockingham. If we could just stop for 1 second. And we're at frame 1711. So if we assume that this is correct, this would be 511.
Correct.
And in this scene, what are you and criminalist Fung doing?
We are putting items of evidence in the back of the crime scene truck.
And would these be the items of evidence that you had collected in the afternoon at Rockingham?
That's correct.
Now, are you placing anything in addition to the evidence itself in the truck at this time?
Our kits.
And what are your kits?
They are 2 cases that contain things we need to pick up evidence, package it at the scene.
Do those contain all of your packaging materials?
Yes, they do.
And in addition to the bags, the brown paper bags that we've seen, what other kinds of packaging materials do you have?
Plastics, bags, coin envelopes of varying sizes.
Okay. So at this point in time, those items are being placed in the rear of the crime scene truck?
That's correct.
And would have this been after you did the inventory for the afternoon items?
Yes.
Do you know where physically that inventory took place?
I don't know for sure, no.
Okay, let's continue.
All right, just for the record, that's 17:11 actually in 50 seconds, because there's a lot in between.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I can just stop for another second. So this is 17:11:57:02 that we're looking at. Did you just lock the crime scene truck?
Yes.
So at this time, where is all of the evidence that was collected from the morning at Rockingham?
In the back of the truck.
And all of the evidence that was collected at Bundy?
In the back of the truck.
And what about the evidence that was collected in the afternoon?
In the back of the truck.
Okay, let's continue. If we could stop for just a second, I have another question. And the crime scene identification checklist that we've been referring to, where is that at this time as you and Mr. Fung are walking away from the
That also is
crime
in the
truck?
back of the truck.
Okay, let's continue. Stop for a second. We've just stopped at 17:17:10:24. Ms. Mazzola, have you had an opportunity to look at this tape before
Yes, I
today?
have.
Right. And have you had an opportunity to take a close look at the item that Detective Van Adder is holding in his hands?
Yes.
What does that appear to be?
It appears to be the gray envelope that, at least in toxicology, that our samples arrive at the lab in, be it urine or blood,
Now, you say in toxicology you see these envelopes.
every day.
I'd just like to show you what we've marked previously as People's 163H for identification. I may approach.
Yes.
Can you show us hold up the envelope of the type that you work with every day in serology? Excuse me, in toxicology.
It's this one.
She's referring to the darker of the gray envelopes.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's continue. Let's just stop for a moment. Now, when you're working with these envelopes in toxicology every day, are these the kinds of envelopes that are used to contain the suspect's blood
Yes,
or urine?
that's correct.
All right. Let's continue. Okay, let's stop for a second. We've just stopped at 17:20:57:02. Now, before we stopped, did you see two shots or two segments showing some activity in the foyer area of
Yes.
the Rockingham location? Do you know where you were when that was occurring?
I was in the living room sitting down.
Okay. And what was it that appeared to be in Mr. Fung's hands in this videotape?
It appeared to be,
Objection, Your Honor, to what her opinion of what appears in the videotape, since she's not even present, and her opinion is no better than the jury's.
Oh,
it appears to be an envelope similar to the gray envelope.
And at this time, did either you or Mr. Fung have any of the packaging materials that you, from your crime scene truck or from the kits?
No,
Objection, Your Honor, she wasn't present, she can't say what was the content.
overruled.
no.
All right. And was there,
Let me see counsel without the report of the sidebar, please. Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Was there any other item of evidence that you collected or saw being collected after 5/11
No,
that was consistent with those shots?
no.
Okay. Can we continue now? Let's just stop for a second. Have you had the opportunity to see this portion of the tape where you and Mr. Fung are leaving the location prior to today?
Yes,
For the record, we've stopped on 17, 42, 54, 13. Now, did you have opportunity when you looked at this tape to look at the amount of heft or size of whatever is in the plastic bag?
after viewing the tapes, yes.
And was there anything that you collected or was collected in your presence after 5/11 that was consistent with that other than the analyzed evidence envelope?
No,
Foundation.
First of all, it's a leading question.
Sustain. Phrase the question, jury student, disregard the answer.
Did you collect anything or was anything collected in your presence after 5/11 that was consistent with the size of what was in that envelope? Excuse me, bag.
no,
And when you were carrying the bag out, I'll strike that. Okay, let's continue. Now, you said that after the Griffin hearing, you had a conversation with Mr. Fung where you went over who collected.
Objections to what he went over in the conversation.
Where you went,
Sorry to
Thank
testify
you.
to.
where you went over what had been collected and who did it.
right.
Do you remember any conversation about item number 17, the vial of blood?
I honestly can't remember if we had a conversation or not.
Did that, in your mind, appear to be a significant incident, the circumstances surrounding the collection of or the receipt of that item?
No.
Why didn't it seem to be significant?
The laboratory receives samples of suspects' blood or urine all the time. It was nothing unusual.
Did you make it a point when you were getting ready to leave the Rockingham location after 5 o'clock to make a mental note of everything that was happening and the sequence in which it was happening?
Not really, no.
Or make a mental note of the time that things were happening after 5 o'clock?
Not really, no.
Did you have any idea that those circumstances were going to be raised as issues later on in a case?
No.
Your Honor, I'd like to read from the Griffin hearing transcript. It's at page 762.
At what line?
It's line 1 on 762 through line 7 on 763.
Mr. Newfeld?
I didn't hear what he said.
He's ready.
I want to ask you whether at the Griffin hearing you gave the following answers.
Hello, Aaron. Welcome to the stream. Great to see you, as always.
To the following questions. Question. Oh, excuse me. It's 761, line 25, where it starts. Question. And what happened? What time did you finally leave Rockingham for the second time? Answer. Let me check my notes. Approximately 1,700 hours. Question. That's the time that you left Rockingham approximately? Answer. Approximately. Question. Can you just tell me what the source of that approximation is, ma'am? Answer. From one of the last items that was picked up on our way out. Question. And which item was that? That was the last item picked up. Answer. It was sample item 16. Question. And what time was it picked up? Answer. Approximately 1,700 hours. Question. And is it your recollection, ma'am, that as soon as you picked up that item, that you and Mr. Fung left the premises? Answer. It was a little bit after that. Question. When you say a little bit after, do you mean 5 minutes, or are we talking about as much as half an hour? Answer. Not as much as half an hour. Question. So would it just be a few minutes? Answer. Yes. Question. Were you with Mr. Fung the entire time after you picked up that last item at 1,700 hours until you departed for your next destination? Answer. I believe I was. Yes. Question. And was anything else, was any other evidence collected after that last item before you actually left Rockingham? Answer. No. No other item? Answer. No. No other items were logged in? No. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why did you testify that you left at approximately 1,700 hours at the Griffin hearing?
Because that's what I thought the time was after we picked up the last two items that I personally saw.
And when you were referring to something at the Griffin hearing, when you testified to that, what were you referring to?
As to where I got the time?
Yeah.
The crime scene checklist.
Okay. And did you look on the crime scene checklist Perhaps we can have that item. I think it's 1007, 1107 rather. Taking a look at the crime scene identification checklist, it's 1107. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
Now, when was this created? Was this created on the 13th or after the 13th?
after the 13th.
Okay. When you were answering the questions at the Griffin hearing as to when you left, did you look at this page?
No,
And this page indicates that item number 17 was recovered at 17:20?
that's what it says, yes.
Is that your handwriting? The 17:20?
1720 is, yes.
That's 5:20.
Right.
Right, so had you looked at this page when you were testifying at the Griffin hearing, would you have testified differently?
Yes.
And what would have you testified to?
That we,
Objection as to what?
Speculation.
Okay.
Sustained.
Now, as to the question that you were asked at the Griffin hearing about your recollection, thank you, that as soon as you picked up that item, that you and Mr. Fung left the premises when you said that you think it was a little bit after that, what was that recollection based on?
which item are you,
You were asked whether you left after you collected 15 and 16, and you said it was a little bit after that.
Right.
What was that recollection based on?
the fact that Mr. Fung spent some time talking to the detectives, so it would have been after that.
What were you doing in that interval between the time that you got back to the location after locking everything in your crime scene truck and when you came out with the plastic bag?
For a short time, I was with Mr. Fung and the detectives and the photographer. After a while, the photographer and I went into the living room and sat down.
And what was your mental state at that time?
Exhaustion.
Did you have a clear sense of how much time was going by when you were sitting down on the couch?
No.
And when you testified that you believed, when you were asked whether you were with Mr. Fung the entire time between 1700 hours until you departed, and you said that you believed that you were, what was the basis of that belief?
It just felt like a few minutes. Didn't feel like a long time at all.
Now, were any other items logged in on the 13th after 15 and 16?
As to having been received on the 13th?
In other words, on the 13th, did you or Mr. Fung in your presence make any paperwork on the crime scene identification checklist logging in any item after 16?
No.
And that was done on the 14th?
I believe so, yes.
And why was it that that was done on the 14th?
Because our checklist was locked in the back of the truck. After we were done and ready to leave Rockingham, we had to get back to the lab to prepare the other evidence.
At some point after leaving the location for the last time on the 13th, did Mr. Fung say anything to you regarding a vial of blood from the defendant?
Sustained.
Is that hearsay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fine.
All right, why don't we take our noon recess at this point? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the lunch hour. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, conduct any deliberations until the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. We'll stand in recess until 1:30. Ms. Mazzola, you may step down. You're ordered to return 1:30. All right? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Are we going to be in session at all tomorrow afternoon under your current plan?
Not in session.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
All right. All right, Deputy Magnar, let's have the jurors, please. The witness stand. All right, the record should reflect that we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Andrea Mazzola is again on the witness stand on direct examination by Mr. Goldberg. Good afternoon, Ms. Mazzola.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded you're still under oath. Mr. Goldberg.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about when you left the Rockingham location, and you were explaining why it was that when you went into the vehicle, you didn't continue filling out the crime scene identification checklist, and I was unclear on that. What was the reason?
Because the identification checklist was in the back of the truck.
Okay. Now, when you got back to the laboratory, approximately what time did you arrive?
Approximately 6:30 or so, somewhere in there, quarter
Okay.
after 6.
And did you fill out or continue filling out the crime scene identification checklist then?
No.
What was your priority when you were back at the laboratory?
The main priority was to get the swatches which were collected at the scenes to be drying.
All right. Now, I'll get into that in just a second, but I wanted to ask a few clarifying questions. When you were sitting on the couch at the Rockingham location before you left, I guess this would have been after 5/11, were your eyes open or closed?
I believe they were closed.
At what point did you close your eyes?
Probably the second I sat down.
Do you, did you fall asleep?
No, I wasn't asleep.
And did you lose track of time when you were sitting on the couch?
Yes.
Were you tired at that point in time?
Yes, I was.
Why was that?
Because we had been up on our feet working constantly for 12 solid hours.
Okay. Now, you said on direct examination, when I was asking you about collecting the glove and the watch cap, the cap, that they were in close proximity or touching. Which was it?
Reviewing photographs, they were in very close proximity to each other.
Okay, and what was the significance, again, of them being in close proximity?
Well, since they were so close, chances are that any trace evidence would have been on one, on the other. They were not separated by any great distance to preserve trace evidence, just located on one and not the other.
Were they close enough so that you could not foreclose the possibility that at some point they'd come into contact?
They were that close.
And when two items come into contact, is that typically how transfers of trace evidence occur?
Yes.
Now, when you got back to the laboratory and you began the drawing process, what role, if any, did you play in the drawing process?
At first, I started helping Mr. Fung by preparing a few of the items for drying, taking them out and putting them in the labeled test tubes. But he was much faster than I was, so he suggested I just label the tubes for him.
Are you familiar with the technique that Mr. Fung uses to remove the swatches from the plastic baggies and put them into the test tubes?
I know which method he uses.
And what is that?
He places the test tube near the opening of the mouth of the bag and uses the bag to push the swatches into the test tube.
By manipulating from the outside of the bag?
Right.
Now, do you use the same technique?
No, I was not that good. I would use disposable pipettes, glass pipettes, and I would put the pipette into the bag and bring the swatches into the test tube and throw away the pipette.
Did you throw away the pipette for each sample?
Yes.
Do you know whether you did more than one this way?
I think I did more than one, yes.
Okay. And if you're using the glass pipette on the sample and you then go to the control, do you use the same glass pipette?
No.
So you use a different glass pipette for the sample and then a different glass pipette for the control?
Correct.
All right. Do you recall exactly how many you did before you stopped
No,
doing
I
them
don't.
on this?
No, I don't.
Okay, but you think it may have been more than one?
More than one, yes.
And what did you do after you stopped actually helping out in the drawing process by putting the items in the test tubes?
I started labeling the test tubes for Mr. Fung.
And was he then doing the physical manipulations of getting the swatches from the plastic baggies into the test tubes?
Yes, he was.
When you and Mr. Fung were working together in this process, did you do it in an assembly line fashion with all of the items laid out, or was it one at a time?
One item was worked on at a time.
And after the items were placed in their test tubes, were they placed in the coin envelope?
Yes, the test tubes were placed back in the coin envelope.
And then where did they go? I mean, after this whole process is over, where do they go?
Okay, they were placed in a cardboard box lid, lying down, single layer. The box lids were then placed in a cabinet, which we used just for drying the cloth swatches.
And approximately what time would you say you left that evening, if you know?
Offhand, I don't know.
All right. When you left that evening, did you have to take Mr. Fung anywhere?
Yes.
Where was that?
I had to take him back to the firearms section to get his car.
Okay. Now, directing your attention to the next day, June the 14th of 1994. Did you enter the evidence processing room that morning?
Yes, I did.
And for what purpose did you enter the evidence processing room?
To go to work. We had to finish processing the swatches.
Were you present at a time when Mr. Fung removed some evidence from item number 9, the glove that was found at the Rockingham location?
I was in the same room, yes.
Okay. And were you present later in the morning when Mr. Yamauchi from the crime lab came in and took some samples?
Yes.
And did you see how he took the samples?
I wasn't paying,
Samples of what? Just this
Stay, sustain.
Did he take some samples of some of the items that came from the Bundy location?
I believe he did.
And did he take them out of the room or work with them in the room?
They were worked on in the room.
Now, that morning, did you continue filling out the documentation, specifically the crime scene identification checklist?
Yes.
I'd like to take another look back at 1107 for identification. I think this is the rear of the field notes that lists items 17, 18, and 19 on it. Did you find it? Ms. Mazzola, direct your attention to this page of the exhibit that's been marked 1107 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
They are notes in my handwriting regarding items 17, 18, and 19.
And was this created on the morning of the 14th?
Yes.
And how did it come into being?
Mr. Fung had received item 17.
Objection, Your Honor. She would say she's not testifying from what she personally observed.
Or we'll rephrase the question.
All right, were you directed to make this document, or did you do it on your own?
I was directed to make this document
And what were you directed to do?
to write down the item numbers and a brief description of what each item number was.
Was that Mr. Fung who told you to do that?
Yes.
Did he give you any specifics in terms of what form he wanted you to put it on? At
Not-
this time?
At this time, no.
All right, so what is it that you wrote it down on?
It was back of the page of the field notes.
All right. And are these the items that you wrote at that time in the morning down on this page?
Yes.
And at some point, did you show this document to Mr. Fung, or did he see it?
He saw it.
And as a result of that, did you then generate another document?
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Because he wanted it placed on one of the forms that we use, the front face of the field notes.
Okay, is the form that we are looking at now an official Los Angeles Police Department form that's used for these purposes, or is it just a blank piece of paper on the reverse of?
It's just the reverse of a piece of paper.
Okay, so he wanted it on what form?
On one of the evidence collection sheets.
I'd now like to take a look at also 1107, and it has sample item 18, 17, and 19. Now, is this exhibit part of the official crime scene identification checklist type form that you use when you're out in the field generally?
Yes.
Right. And did you create parts of this exhibit?
Yes, I did.
Can you distinguish between the different kinds of handwriting on there and tell us which is yours and which isn't?
The sample item number 18, 17, 19 are mine. The received in serology under 18 is mine. 17, the location of item received from Van Adder, is Mr. Fung's writing. My writing is the writing under the item collected for that item number, and Mr. Fung's writing is removed from. Mine is item 9, and his is the hairs and fibers.
Okay, now, did you do this document on your own initially, or did Mr. Fung do it together with you?
Initially, it was mine.
And then did you call Mr. Fung's attention to it?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you put in the time for item number 17, 1720, is that what it says? 1720. Where did you get that from?
From Mr. Fung.
And is that 520?
Yes.
It came from him and not an analyzed evidence envelope or another piece of paper?
He told me. I don't.
Okay.
So-
And where did you get the time 9 o'clock for the removed from item 9, 19?
That I just glanced at the clock while he was working on it.
And what about the 8:30 time for the received, for item number 18?
That was from Mr. Fung.
Okay. Were you present when any pair of sneakers was handed over?
No.
So after you created this document and then brought it to Mr. Fung's attention, what happened?
He wanted the numbers, sample item numbers, changed.
And why was that?
He wanted to keep the items in chronological order as they had been received.
And based upon your own experience as a criminalist, is there any advantage to doing that in terms of other reports that need to be done, such as property reports?
Well, when they're kept in chronological order as to the day they were received, on the property reports, you can put all of the items received on the same day on the property report. If they were out of order, you'd have to generate a new property report for each item.
Okay. So was this done in order to cut down on the number of property reports that would be necessary?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness so that she can look at the document itself?
Yes.
Thank you.
Either counsel, when they're examining or being available for cross-examination, may approach without permission of the court.
Direct your attention back to item number 19. There appear to be some erasures under there. Do you know what was originally said?
Let's see. Looks like it's hairs and fibers, and then found on item number 9.
And now it says removed
Removed
from
from.
item number 9.
Correct.
Okay. And the printing that says removed from item number 9, well, excuse me, the removed from, whose printing is that?
The removed from is Mr. Fung.
And the item number 9?
That's mine.
Right. Now, what about where it says on item number 17, received from Van Adder? That's Mr. Fung's printing?
That's Mr. Fung.
And did it appear that there were some erasures there and that there was something else at one time underneath that item?
Looks like serology SID.
Okay. Do you have any recollection of why that was erased and the other, and received from Van Adder put in there?
I believe I was trying to put them in order that Mr. Fung wanted, 17, 18, and 19, and had started to write received in serology, meaning the tennis shoes, and Mr. Fung wanted it kept 18 first, then 17, then 19.
And he just changed those
Right.
item
They
numbers.
were, yeah.
Now, did Mr. Fung ever tell you anything to the effect of, well, it's not coming in for hearsay purpose, Your Honor, just,
Can we approach him at all?
okay.
Please. Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Mazzola, did Mr. Fung ever tell you simply to start over again with a new form?
No.
Right. Now, later in the morning, did you and Mr. Fung go to another location to collect additional evidence?
Yes.
Where was that?
It was at the LAPD print shed.
And can you tell us the time that you got there approximately?
May I look at my notes?
Sure.
Refreshing your recollection by looking at the notes right now.
Yes. Ms.
Thank you.
Mazzola, which form are you looking at?
I am looking at the vehicle search checklist.
Right.
It was approximately 10:30.
And when you arrived at the print shed, did you see the Bronco that had been earlier parked in front of the Rockingham location?
Yes.
Did you see how the Bronco was opened?
Yes, I did.
How was that?
The Bronco had to be opened by 2 detectives
Where did they come from?
from the burglary auto detail.
And how did they do it?
They had to use a, I believe they're called a Slim Jim, to pop the lock.
Okay. And after that was done, did you and Mr. Fung then begin collecting evidence from the Bronco?
Yes.
What role did you play in the evidence collection procedure in terms of the Bronco?
I was holding the flashlight, making a sketch, passing him the supplies that he needed.
When you say supplies, what are you talking about?
Coin envelopes, plastic bags, labeling with the item numbers.
Okay. Perhaps at this point I could bring up People's 172 for identification. I don't know whether you can see this. I'd like to draw your attention to one of the call-out lines that does not have a number on it. It's just a red dot, but it hooks up to a photograph that has an item number 33 and depicts the brake pedals in the Bronco. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And when you were at the location, did you do any testing on the brake pedals and the gas pedal as depicted in that photograph?
Yes, I did a phenolphthalein test.
Did you do that personally, or did Mr. Fung do that?
I did that personally.
Can you tell us what's involved in a phenolphthalein test?
It is simply taking a cotton swab, cotton tip swab, dampening it with a little distilled water, shaking off the excess, applying the swab to the area, adding a drop of the reagent. If there's no color change, we add a drop of hydrogen peroxide. If it is negative, nothing happens. If it is positive, it turns a magenta hot pink.
And did you do that phenolphthalein test for each one of the three pedals that are depicted in the photograph that has the call-out line with no number on it?
Yes,
What was the result?
and I check my notes.
Sure.
All right, Ms. Mazzola, could you try to keep your voice up? All right, thank you.
The phenolphthalein tests were positive.
Did you collect any stains from that location?
No,
Those three pedals?
no,
And did Mr. Fung collect any stains?
no.
Right. Now, with respect to the stains that are on this Bronco board, were there additional stains on the Bronco that are not depicted here? If you want to, you can look back on your notes.
Yes, there were other stains.
Okay, for example, was there a stain number 21, or 20, rather?
Yes, there was.
Where was that located?
That was located in the passenger door near the top edge of the passenger door.
Now, with respect to the stains that we see here that are depicted on this exhibit, let's start with the stain number 30 and 31. Do you recall specifically seeing those, or just generally that you know that there were a lot of stains in the Bronco?
Objection, Your Honor, to general law.
Sustain, rephrase the
All
question.
right. Do you recall specifically seeing, well, let me ask it this way. Do you recall specifically seeing all of the stains that are depicted here, with the exceptions of 304 and 305 rather? Or do you just have a general recollection that you saw stains in there?
I have a general recollection of small stains, yes.
All right. Thank you. You can retake the witness stand. Now, I'd like to show you the vehicle search checklist that's previously been marked as People's 189 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
And is that the documentation that you were filling out while you and Mr. Fung were collecting the stains from the Bronco?
yes,
And does that list all of the various stains that were obtained from the Bronco on that date? collected, I should say.
Yes.
Now, when you're collecting stains from a vehicle such as this, do you collect every single drop of every single stain in the vehicle?
No.
What do you do?
You, as a normal crime scene, you take a representative sample.
And by that, do you mean, what do you mean when you say representative sample?
You collect samples from the various items in the different locations. You would not collect every single spot. If there were 5 spots near each other, you would not collect all 5 spots.
Okay, but let's say that you have a situation where there are 10 spots, and you decide that you're going to collect 6 of them. Do you collect as much of those 6 spots that you decide to collect as you can?
Yes.
All right. But in terms of the number of spots, you don't necessarily collect every single spot?
No.
Now, when you were watching Mr. Fung doing the collection, did you form any opinion as to whether he was collecting enough of the stains?
I did not form any opinion, no.
All right. How well could you see specifically what was going on in terms of the collection that was happening on the console?
I could not see very well because it was dark, and he was looking for the stains with the flashlight.
Now, when you collected these stains in the Bronco with Mr. Fung and they were packaged, did you follow the same procedure that you've described before in terms of the inventory before you're finished?
Yes.
And what did you do with these after you'd done the inventory?
They were put in paper bags to take with us.
Where did you take them?
We took them to the lab.
And when you got back to the lab, did you go through the drying process with these
Yes.
stains?
Yes.
Now, at this drying process, was your role different than in the drying process that occurred on the evening of the 13th?
Yes.
How did it differ?
I was more involved with putting the swatches into the individual test tubes.
And what technique were you using to do that?
I was using the glass pipettes.
And what technique was Mr. Fung using
He was manipulating the swatches from the outside.
in the way that you previously described?
Correct.
And were the two of you working on one item simultaneously, or how did that work?
We were working on different items, but we were working at separate tables.
And again, when you were working on your items, did you do it in an assembly line fashion or one at a time?
One at a time.
Now, after these items were put out to dry, did you participate in the packaging process?
Yes.
And what did the packaging process involve?
You take the dry swatches, you put them in a small paper bindle, which is just a piece of paper, clean paper folded up, put the swatches in, seal it, write the DR number on it, the item number. These go back in the original coin envelopes,
And did you do that in assembly line fashion or one at a time?
one at a time.
And after the drying process was done on the various items that have been collected on the 13th and 14th, did you participate with Mr. Fung in writing the property reports?
He wrote the property reports.
He did that.
He did that.
And on June the 16th of 1994, did you see the evidence?
That morning, yes.
And what condition was it in when you saw it?
Sealed boxes,
So at that time, everything that had been collected was sealed up.
yes.
Did you see it actually being brought to the evidence control unit?
No.
Was that the last time that you'd seen it?
Yes.
May I just have one moment to look at my notes,
Yes.
Your Honor? Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Neufeld? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess to shift gears here for about 10 minutes. Please remember all my admonitions to you. If you'll just step back into the jury room as soon as we reorganize, we'll get started again. All right? Let's take 10 minutes. All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. Let the record reflect that we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Andrea Mazzola is again on the witness stand, now on cross-examination by Mr. Neufeld. Good afternoon again, Ms. Mazzola.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded you are still under oath. Mr. Neufeld.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, it's been a month since Mr. Shapiro introduced me in the courtroom.
Certainly.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Peter Neufeld, and it is my pleasure to be one of the lawyers assisting in the representation of Mr. Simpson. Ms. Mazzola, did you watch any of Dennis Fung's testimony at this trial? Or hear any of it on the radio?
Just bits and pieces.
And was that at work or at home?
At work, I don't watch it at home.
Did you listen to any of it at home?
No.
So it's on the television at work, though?
Yes.
And it's on people's radios at work?
Yes.
And that's at the SID laboratories here?
That's correct.
And other than Dennis Fung's testimony, did you watch or listen to portions of any of the other witnesses' testimony during this trial?
Maybe just bits and pieces. I don't make it a practice to listen.
Well, Dennis Fung had mentioned that that the radio was on in different places in the laboratory. Is there a radio in toxicology?
There,
The question about is there a radio in toxicology is an appropriate question. You can answer that.
yes, there is.
And are people in toxicology listening to the trial?
Our radio in tox does not get very good reception. We're lucky if we hear anything at all.
I understand that, but given the limited reception that you do have, ma'am, do people in toxicology have it tuned to the trial?
They try, yes.
Okay. And not only in toxicology, but are there other radios in serology, for instance?
I don't know what goes on in serology.
How about in the evidence processing unit? Is there a radio there?
I believe there is.
And you said there are also televisions at work.
One
And is that in the cafeteria?
in the lunchroom, yes.
And in the televisions in the lunchroom, does that also broadcast the trial?
Yes.
And so employees at SID can come in and watch the trial when they have free time.
They can.
And you've seen bits and pieces of the trial on that television?
When I'm in and out of there, yes.
Okay. Well, do you ever have your lunch there?
I tend to take my lunch when the court was recessed for lunch.
I'm sorry, what?
I took my lunch when the court was taking theirs. I don't like to watch the trial.
No, I don't mean, you take your lunch every day at SID at the same time the court recesses?
After the court is out of session is when I go and eat my lunch, or we go out to lunch.
Okay. But there've been some times where you have seen bits and
Right.
pieces on the television of the trial testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going back to August, Mr. Goldberg had referred to your testifying at a hearing. I believe it's on August 23rd. Is that correct?
I'm not sure the exact date.
All right. Well, the day before you testified, Dennis Fung testified, didn't he?
I guess.
Well, ma'am,
Overruled. No, it'll stand.
Well, ma'am, just calling your attention again to the hearings that took place during that third week in August of 1994. Did you hear on the radio or watch some of those hearings on television?
I don't remember if I did or not.
Well, Ms. Mazzola, this was a case I think that you referred to on direct examination when you were called to come over here in early August or in late August as the case. Is that correct?
It was referred to me as the case. I don't refer to it as that.
Fine. But it was a very high-profile case at the Scientific Investigation Division of the LA Police Department, was it not?
Yes, it was.
And everyone talked about it quite frequently, did they not?
They really did not talk about it frequently because we were told not to talk amongst ourselves.
Well, ma'am, let me ask you this. You were one of the only two criminalists who collected the evidence at the two crime scenes at Rockingham and Bundy on those days, right?
Right?
And you were certainly interested in the way that collection was being depicted or portrayed on television, weren't you?
Mildly interested.
I'm sorry?
A little interested, yes.
Okay. And during that time, would you stipulate that Dennis Fung testified on August 22nd? All right. Well, ma'am, assuming, if you would, that Dennis Fung testified on August 22nd, the day before you did, as best you can recall, were you mildly interested in what Dennis Fung had to say about yours and his collection of evidence before a national television audience?
I don't recall if I was listening to it or not. I honestly don't recall.
Well, were you listening on August 22nd? I'm sorry, withdrawing. You said earlier that the first time you heard that you were needed in court was the morning of August 23rd, or the morning that you testified. Is that right?
That's right.
Were you listening on the television and radio when it was said in open court on the afternoon of the 22nd that your attendance would probably be necessary the next day?
No.
Overruled. Answer will stand.
No.
Well, did anyone call you the afternoon of August 22nd or the evening of August 22nd and say that defense counsel has requested your presence and you may have to be on the witness stand the following day?
Right,
No.
that does assume facts that aren't in evidence. We don't know what date it was. Sometime in August.
As an officer of the court, Your Honor, I'm representing when Mr.
Counsel, I
Fung's
know that,
testimony
but-
was and when hers was.
You can ask the question, same answer, the day before you were called to testify.
Okay. Now, in preparation for your testimony today, have you reviewed any notes?
Yes.
And what notes would those be, ma'am?
Crime scene notes. I was able to watch some videos, look at some still photography.
Did you review any transcripts?
Yes.
And which transcripts did you review?
I believe it's called a Griffin hearing.
Whose testimony?
Mine.
Did you review the testimony of any other witnesses from that hearing?
No.
Did you review the testimony of any other witnesses during the course of any other proceedings of this trial, of this case?
No.
And you mentioned that you've also viewed some videotapes.
Correct.
Approximately how many videotapes have you reviewed?
I lost count. I don't know.
Perhaps dozens?
I don't think it was dozens. No, not
Perhaps
that
a
many.
dozen?
Maybe a dozen or less.
Okay. And are all those videotapes shown to you by the district attorney in this case?
Yes.
Were any of them showed to you by police officers?
No.
Now, the only time other than a trial where you testified in this case was during that hearing in late August, August 23rd of 1994. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, before you testified in that proceeding, had you met with any district attorneys concerning your involvement in this case?
No.
And prior to August 23rd, when you testified, had you discussed your involvement in this case with any superiors at LAPD?
I do not believe so, no.
And prior to your testifying and taking the witness stand here on August 23rd, 1994, did you speak to any defense attorney?
No.
Did any defense attorney suggest to you any answers before you got on the witness stand?
No.
Did any prosecutor suggest any answers to you before you got on the witness stand on August 23rd?
No.
Now, since August 23rd, Ms. Mazzola, have you had a number of discussions with employees of the Los Angeles Police Department, including the people at SID?
I've talked to people at work, yes.
Well, have you had discussions with them about your involvement in this case?
Yes.
And let's see, have you talked to Michelle Kessler?
Yes.
And who is Michelle Kessler?
She is now the laboratory director.
And on how many different occasions have you talked to the laboratory director, Michelle Kessler, about your involvement in this case since August 23rd?
A few.
And would those different sessions be in her office?
Not necessarily. Out in the hall, passing by. Informal.
Were they all informal?
No, maybe one or two were in her office, but that's
And those
about
would be
it.
more formal.
If you want to call it formal.
And during the 1 and 2, no, just unless you do.
Well,
Okay.
we're not very formal there, so.
All right. During the 1 or 2 sessions that you had with your boss, Ms. Kessler, in her office, were any other people present?
Yes.
And who were those people who were present? Well, I'm sorry, let's start with the first time that you met with Ms. Kessler since August 23rd and discussed your involvement in this case.
Oh, I don't know who was present the first time.
Were there other people present, though?
I can't remember. I honestly can't
Do you know
remember.
approximately what month it was?
No.
Was it in the fall?
I don't know.
Well, how about the second time you met with Ms. Kessler to discuss your involvement in this case since August 23rd? Who else was with her then?
I believe Greg Matheson and Colin Yamauchi.
And do you remember what month that was in?
And that was just this month. It's very recent.
And you said there may have been a third time. Was there a third time that you met with Ms. Kessler?
I don't know.
So the best of your recollection, it was just 2 occasions
Two that I can recollect, yes.
in her office. And the other instances where you discussed this case with her were all more casually in the hallway. Is that your testimony?
It was more or less passing how I'm doing, are you ready, that sort of thing.
Now, aside from Ms. Kessler and Mr. Matheson, on that one occasion, Ms. Kessler's office, have you also discussed your involvement in this case with Mr. Matheson?
Separately, not really, no.
Have you discussed your involvement in this case since August 23rd with Dennis Fung?
We've talked, yes.
Well, in fact, after you testified on August 23rd, you and Dennis Fung had a long discussion about who did what with respect to collection in this case, didn't you?
Oh,
Yes.
And in fact, during that discussion, it was your testimony of August 23rd which precipitated that meeting between you and Mr. Fung. Isn't that correct?
I don't know if it was the testimony that,
Well, Ms. Mazzola, isn't it true that when you had the meeting with Dennis Fung, after you testified on August 23rd, he told you that he disagreed with your recollection of what you testified to at August 23rd? Isn't that correct?
sustained.
How long after the August, I'm sorry, how long after you testified on August 23rd was it that you had this meeting with Dennis Fung?
I have no idea.
And during that meeting with Dennis Fung, didn't he state to you that he had a different recollection than you had? One second. He had a different-
Sustained. state to you?
It's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor. It's being offered to show that he stated it. And
Sidebar.
Thank you.
Question.
Thank you. After you testified under oath on August 23rd, 1994, Ms. Mazzola, when you met with Dennis Fung, didn't he review with you his recollection as to who collected which items at Bundy and Rockingham?
Yes,
And would you agree, ma'am, that his recollection of who collected which items at Rockingham and Bundy in that meeting were different and contradicted your testimony at August 23rd?
I-
It calls for conclusion and yours.
It's her statement.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I don't know. We talked about who collected what because it seemed like it was going to be a big deal, rather than us working as a team. They want,
Ms. Mazzola, this morning you testified that Dennis Fung collected the drops numbers 4, 5, and 6 at Rockingham. Is that correct?
Overruled.
may I check my notes to see which drops are 4, 5, and 6?
Please do.
Yes,
And isn't it fact, Ms. Mazzola, that when you testified on August 23rd under oath, you testified that you personally collected every drop at Rockingham?
Seize the phone, Deputy Magnera.
I have a page, a line, citation.
One moment. Page 698, beginning at line 22.
Do you have it, Mr. Goldberg?
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Ms. Mazzola, you said a moment ago that you testified this morning on direct examination that it is now your recollection that Mr. Fung, and not you, collected the drops, item numbers 4, 5, and 6. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And just so we can be very clear as to what items 4, 5, and 6 are, may I pull out one of the exhibits?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Mr. Scheck, you want to assist Mr. Neufeld there? Oop.
Ms. Mazzola, could you please step down from the witness stand, with the court's permission?
Ms. Mazzola, would you try to keep your voice up, please? All right, thank you.
Ms. Mazzola, would you please point out for the jury, so I don't block them, where drops 4, 5, and 6 are on the diagram, which is People's Exhibit 120.
Okay, 4 is right here. I can't hear you. 4 is right here in the street.
Indicating in photograph A, almost directly in front of the number 360 on the curb.
5 is right here in the driveway, just outside of the gate.
And by the way, Ms. Mazzola, is number 5 also reflected in photograph A on the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. And could you now tell us where number 6 is, please?
And 6 is right here.
Indicating on photograph C on the same exhibit, a card that is toward the rear of item number 5 and toward the left of another card. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, ma'am, this morning when you testified, you said that it was now your current recollection that items 4, 5, and 6 were collected by Dennis Fung and not by you. Is that correct?
I think that the state's testimony.
Overruled.
Is that correct?
I believe so.
And isn't it true, Ms. Mazzola, that you can stay there for 1 minute because we're going to come back to the board. Now, when you testified on August 23rd, by the way, when you testified on August 23rd, like this trial, it was a proceeding where you testified under oath. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, when you testified on August 23rd of 1994, it was a mere 2 months after the incident, correct?
Yes.
Okay, whereas today you're testifying almost 10 months after the incident. Is that correct?
Yes.
You testified on August 23rd under oath. Were you asked these questions and did you give these answers? Question. And what items of evidence did you personally collect at Rockingham during that first visit? Answer. A red stain on the door of the Bronco and the red stains leading up the driveway to the front of the house. Were you asked that question? Did you give that answer?
I believe so.
You can sit down now. And in fact, Ms. Mazzola, was it during the meeting you had with Dennis Fung, after you testified on August 23rd, where he suggested to you that he had collected some of those stains at Rockingham? Did it happen at that meeting?
I don't recall if it did or not.
Well, at that meeting that you had with Dennis Fung, didn't you and he then begin to put notations down on a pre-existing field report?
We were making notes, yes.
Well,
All right. Would you hand that to Mr. Cochran, please? I don't know if the... Can you focus it a little bit or not? It's still live.
That's fine. Ms. Mazzola, do you recognize that document?
Yes,
What is it?
a collection report.
And is it the collection report for the items of evidence collected at Rockingham?
Yes,
And are the items, which I just referred to as the drops, the Rockingham drops, if you will, are they included on that list?
yes,
And are they noted on that list in the left-hand column by either a photo number or an ID number?
yes,
All right? And if you now go over to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, there's a column that says by. Is that correct?
yes,
And what would go in that column ordinarily would be the initials of the person who actually personally collected the item. Is that correct?
if at the time it was necessary, yes.
Right, but that's what that column is for, correct?
If the person collecting the evidence deems it's necessary to put the initials, yes.
When you filled out this report on that day, that entire column for every single item at Rockingham was left blank. Is that correct?
Yes,
Now, when you had the meeting with Dennis Fung, you had a photocopy of this document with you, did you not?
yes,
And during the meeting with Dennis Fung, he expressed to you his recollection of which items he collected, correct?
we were discussing it.
Did he discuss with you and explain to you his recollection of which items he collected, Ms. Mazzola?
I believe so, yes.
And when he did that, he said to you that it's his recollection that he collected items 4, 5, and 6, correct? During that discussion.
I don't remember.
Well, have you had any other discussions with Dennis Fung about which items he collected, other than this one meeting that occurred after you testified under oath on August 23rd?
I don't recall.
And when you had this meeting with Dennis Fung, you took notes, correct?
Yes,
And you made entries in that column where it says by, is that correct?
yes,
And for items number 4, 5, and 6, you put in that column by Fung, did you not?
yes,
And it's those notes that you made when Dennis Fung spoke to you after August 23rd that you are in part relying on today when you testify as to who collected what. Is that correct?
For that column, no.
You're not at all relying on those notes to refresh your recollection as to who collected what?
No.
All right. Are there any documents at all in this case which identify which of you collected which items?
On some of the videotapes, it shows who is collecting which items.
All right, and it shows you collecting a hat and it shows you collecting a glove, correct?
Correct?
Is there any videotape that you've seen that shows which bloodstains you're collecting as opposed to Mr. Fung?
There are a few instances, yes.
And in which videotapes are you referring to? Why don't you tell us which item it shows Mr. Fung collecting?
The Bundy scene shows me collecting some of the blood, but I know that Mr. Fung also collected some of the blood at Bundy.
Is there any videotape that shows Mr. Fung collecting any blood at Bundy?
I don't believe there's any videotape of him personally collecting.
Is there any videotape showing Mr. Fung collecting any blood at Rockingham?
I don't believe so.
All right? So if there's no videotape showing Mr. Fung collecting the blood at Rockingham, are there any reports that were filled out contemporaneous to this incident where it identifies Mr. Fung as the person who collected blood drops at Rockingham?
Would you please rephrase the question?
Were there any documents filled out contemporaneous to June 13th and June 14th identifying Mr. Fung as the person who was collecting any of the drops at Rockingham?
I don't believe so.
So when you testified today, ma'am, in the absence of, I'm sorry, one last question. There's no videotapes, there's no documents. Are there any still photographs showing Mr. Fung collecting any of the blood drops at Rockingham?
I don't believe so.
So in the absence of any videotapes, photographs, or documents, you're testifying today based on your independent recollection of what transpired back on June 13th. Is that correct?
The videotapes helped me to remember what happened on that morning.
Ma'am, are there any videotapes at all which show Mr. Fung collecting a single blood drop?
I believe there's one at Bundy.
Where Mr. Fung is collecting the blood drop? Mm-hmm. A moment ago, you
Excuse me, is that yes or no?
Yes.
All right.
a moment ago you said that there was no videotape of Mr. Fung collecting any blood drops. Is that correct?
It shows,
Forward. Proceed.
it shows both of us at the one area where blood was collected. It shows me collecting some, and it shows Mr. Fung collecting some.
Shows Mr. Fung actually swatching some at Bundy?
Yes.
Okay, and which drop is that he's collecting at Bundy?
It was, let me refer to
On the
my notes.
videotape.
Right, I need to refer
Go
to my
ahead.
notes to find out which
Wait,
one.
wait. Ms. Mazzola, let Mr. Neufeld finish asking you the question before you start answering. Mr. Neufeld, let her finish answering before you ask the next one. Thank you.
Let's see. It's photo ID number 110.
And what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the evidence collection sheet.
Mr. Neufeld.
Okay. And do you know what property item that is?
Let me see. $45.
And that's not one of the Bundy blood drops, is it?
It is a blood sample taken from Bundy
And where is it taken from at Bundy?
on a rail.
Ma'am, are there any videotapes at all showing Dennis Fung collecting any of the, what has been referred to over and over in this trial as the Bundy blood drops?
Sustain what you...
Is there any videotape at all showing Dennis Fung collecting any of the blood drops that are on the walkway leading to the rear alley at Bundy?
I don't believe so. None that I've seen.
And are there any videotapes at all showing Dennis Fung swatching any of the blood drops at Rockingham?
No videos that I have seen.
All right. So now focusing on Rockingham, ma'am. There's no videotape showing Dennis Fung collecting any blood drops there, correct?
Correct?
There's no still photographs showing him collecting any blood drops there, correct?
Correct?
And there's no documents that were made contemporaneous to this whole matter on June 13th or June 14th, which suggests that, which shows him swatching any blood drops at Rockingham. Is that correct?
Correct?
And so when you testified today, this morning, that it's your recollection that Dennis Fung collected items 4, 5, and 6, you're testifying based on memory. Is that correct?
That's correct?
Not based on any document, photograph, or videotape that you have seen showing him actually doing that. Is that correct?
That's correct?
And that recollection that you now have, ma'am, is in part influenced by the meeting that you had with Dennis Fung after you testified on August 23rd. Isn't that correct?
No.
At the meeting when you at the meeting you had with Dennis Fung, Ms. Mazzola, you said that Dennis Fung told you that it was his recollection that he collected items 4, 5, and 6, correct?
No.
During the meeting that you had with Dennis Fung after August 23rd, didn't he tell you what his recollection was as to which items he collected at Rockingham?
We were discussing the scene in general.
Ma'am, during that discussion, did Dennis Fung tell you what his recollection was as to which blood drops he collected at Rockingham?
I don't believe he said he recalled his recollection.
Well, ma'am, the last time, did anything happen? I'm sorry. Since you testified on August 23rd, until you had this meeting with Dennis Fung, did you speak to anyone else about who collected which items at Rockingham other than Dennis Fung?
I don't believe so.
And did you review any photographs reflecting who collected which items at Rockingham between your testimony on August 23rd and the time you met with Dennis Fung?
I was able to review some of the still photographs.
But the still photographs don't depict, as you said a moment ago, Dennis Fung collecting anything, correct? At Rockingham.
Overruled.
That's correct.
And the last time you were asked to articulate who collected what at Rockingham then was in sworn testimony that you gave in this courtroom on August 23rd, 1994. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you testified in this courtroom on August 23rd, 1994, you said that you personally collected every single one of those blood drops, including the Bronco door and the drops going all the way up the driveway at Rockingham. Isn't that correct?
Overruled.
Isn't that correct, ma'am?
I don't know what the testimony was exactly.
Did you hear me read the testimony to you just 5 minutes ago, ma'am?
Sustained.
Ma'am, when you testified on August 23rd, were you asked this question, did you give this answer? 698, line 22. Question. Okay.
Overruled. Proceed.
Question. And what items of evidence did you collect, you personally collect, at Rockingham during that first visit? Answer, a red stain on the door of the Bronco and the red stains leading up the driveway to the front of the house. When you asked that question, did you give that answer?
Yes.
And you knew, ma'am, when I asked you at that time, when I asked you what you personally collected, you took that to mean those stains that you personally, with your own hands, swatched. Is that right? As opposed to someone else doing it?
Yes.
In fact, ma'am, at that meeting with Dennis Fung, by the way, do you remember when that meeting with Dennis Fung was had?
I have no idea.
Or was it a week after you testified? Was it the day after?
I do not recall.
Was it the same month?
I do not, excuse me, I do not recall.
Was it September?
I don't know.
Was it October?
All right, we're cumulative at this point, Counsel.
And ma'am, you made entries on that blank sheet during that meeting with Dennis Fung, didn't you?
Yes.
And the place where you made entries, ma'am, was in the column that said which item was collected by whom, correct?
Correct.
And have you looked at those notes with those entries that you made at your meeting with Dennis Fung at any time before you took the witness stand today to help you refresh your recollection?
By looking at that column, no.
Did you ever look at that column at any time prior to your testifying today to help refresh your recollection? Didn't look at it at all?
I don't believe so.
Now, other than your meeting with Dennis Fung and your meetings with Michelle Kessler, your supervisor, to discuss your involvement in this case, since August 23rd, have you had any meetings with representatives of the District Attorney's Office?
Yes.
And when was the first?
I don't recall when the first one was.
Well, would it be fair to say that there have been many since August 23rd?
There have been a few, yes.
Few? How
It
many
hasn't-
have there been, ma'am?
I don't know the exact number. It has not been every day.
Well, How many times have you met with the district attorney's office during the last 2 weeks?
Maybe 5 or 6.
And during the month of April in total, how many times have you met with the district attorney's office?
I have no idea.
Or would it be perhaps another 5 or 6 times?
I don't know.
Well, I just want you to approximate, ma'am, as best you can. Might it be an additional 3 or 4?
Could be an additional 2 to 4. I honestly don't know.
Okay. Now, during the month of March, did you have any meetings with any of the district attorneys?
I don't remember.
You don't remember whether you met with them or not during the entire month?
I had other work to do. I don't remember when I met with them exactly.
Did you meet with them at all during the month of February?
I don't recall.
When you say you don't recall, are you saying that you may have met with them, or you just have no recollection of the
I
encounter?
may have met with them. I don't recall.
What about in January?
I don't recall.
Does the same hold true for December? I'm sorry, you have to
Oh, yes.
answer verbally.
Yes, it does.
And November?
All right, we're getting cumulative at this point again.
So would it be fair to say that you may have met with the district attorney's office during the months of November, December, January, and February, but at this point in time, you just can't recall if you did, and if you did, how often?
That's correct.
However, you know for sure that you met with them many times during the month of April. Is that correct?
I met with them sometimes in April, yes.
Well, you said, ma'am, just a moment ago that you met with him about 5 or 6 times during the last couple of weeks, right?
Some of that was on the phone. Some of it was all for 5 minutes.
And you said that you met with them anywhere from 2 to 4 times during the first part of April as well. Is that correct?
It's possible, yes.
So that could be as many as 10 times, just in the month of April alone. Is that correct?
Yes, possible.
Now, you mentioned that some of the sessions may have been on the telephone. How long was the longest session at the district attorney's office?
I have no idea.
Well, did you ever spend an entire day here? Looking at videotapes and talking to the district attorneys about your involvement in this case,
The major part of a day.
which would be perhaps 8 to 10 hours?
No, not that long.
Six.
Probably 5 to 6.
5 to 6 hours. And how many sessions did you have of that nature?
I don't recall, not many.
Perhaps 3 or 4?
Probably just closer to 3, 2 or 3.
2 or 3 sessions, which lasted about 5 hours. And at
Roughly.
those sessions, ma'am, which lasted 5 hours,
Wait, Mr. Neufeld, let her finish the answer.
sorry, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead, I can't remember what you asked.
And at those sessions, which lasted approximately 5 hours, those 2 or 3 sessions, how many different prosecutors were with you?
It wasn't a solid 4 or 5 hours. It was on and off, sometimes watching videos. I don't recall who was with me or how many.
Okay, well, I take it if you don't recall how many people were with you, there was at least more than one prosecutor there with you.
Sometimes one, sometimes more than one.
Well, when there was sometimes more than one, were there as many as 3 or 4?
No,
So you're saying the most that you ever had at any of these 5-hour sessions was 2 prosecutors?
it's on and off.
Is Mr. Goldberg one of those 2 prosecutors?
Sometimes yes,
And sometimes there were other prosecutors there instead of Mr. Goldberg?
yes.
And who were the other prosecutors who you met with?
I don't know their names.
Well, were they people who were in this room?
I recognize one,
And who was that man?
the young lady sitting behind the audiovisual table.
Indicating Diane Martinez.
Okay. Were any of the other district attorneys who you see in this room present during any of those sessions?
They might have walked in and then stayed a minute or so and walked out.
But you don't have any recollection of any of those assistant district attorneys prepping you for your testimony?
No.
Did any of these district attorneys at any time take you into a courtroom?
No.
Now, ma'am, other than the notes that you described before that were made on June 13th and June 14th that you've reviewed in connection with this case, have you made entries onto any other notes at all, or those notes, to help you testify today?
No.
Are there any notes that you've made that are not your original notes?
Other than trying to condense some of the information so it'd be easier to find, no.
Well, you said you did make notes during your meeting with Dennis Fung, correct?
That was just what we had discussed on the collection by.
And those notes were made both on the Rockingham evidence collection sheets and the Bundy evidence collection sheets?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like permission to make a photocopy of those, if I may.
Certainly. Do you have those with you?
Yes.
All right. I'll let you hand those to me. There are two groups.
Right.
All right.
Ma'am, during any of these sessions, by the way, when was the most recent session you had with the district attorneys?
This morning.
And did you meet with them yesterday as well?
No, actually, I didn't.
This morning.
This morning.
And before this morning, when was the last session?
Monday.
And
Or
during
Tues-
any of the sessions...
Excuse me, Tuesday.
And during any of the sessions that you had with the district attorneys, did they review with you any of the issues that came up during Mr. Fung's testimony?
Sustained. It's vague.
During those meetings with the district attorney's office, did either Mr. Goldberg or anybody else in that office tell you that there were certain problems with Mr. Fung's testimony?
Overruled.
I don't believe so.
Never mentioned that at all to you?
I don't believe so.
Well, would you
It's
agree?
a combination of terms of critical and integrity. Why don't you just have her define those terms?
Well, would you agree, ma'am, that part of maintaining that chain of custody and getting it right is to ensure that the item hasn't been tampered with?
That is correct.
And would you agree, ma'am, that another aspect of that, maintaining the chain of custody, is to ensure that the item hasn't been contaminated?
That's
Overruled. Overruled.
Now, on direct examination, you were giving us some background as to your previous employment. Is that correct?
that's correct.
I think you mentioned that your first job out of college was with the Kern County DA's office.
Right.
You said you worked as a criminalist there, right?
That's correct.
But that was only a temp job, wasn't it?
It was a temporary position as a criminalist, yes.
Right. And in fact, you were laid off in that position, correct?
Correct.
And your next job after that temp position with the Kern County DA's office was in the private sector. You're working with a private laboratory, right?
That's right.
You weren't working as a criminalist then, were you?
Toxicologist.
But you weren't working for a law enforcement agency,
No.
processing crime scenes or doing criminalist work.
Not processing crime scenes, no.
And you weren't working for any law enforcement agency, correct? In that job.
The laboratory I worked with contracted work from various law enforcement agencies in the area.
But you were not going out and actually involved in the collection of any evidence when you had that job.
No, I wasn't.
Now, you said you joined the LAPD in January of 1994?
Excuse me, Mr. Neufeld, let me, forgive me for interrupting you. Let me see counsel without the report. Let me see Mr. Cochran, Mr. Darden, Ms. Duff, and Mr. Douglas. Thank you, counsel. Mr. Neufeld, we're about to get into LAPD employment.
Oh, is it?
Please, thank you. My apologies for interrupting. Mr. Neufeld.
Notwithstanding the fact, ma'am, that when you joined the LAPD in January of 1994 as a criminalist one, as of June 13th, 1994, you were still a trainee, weren't you?
I was a criminalist one.
Ma'am, but weren't you also still a trainee at that point?
It's A is to the term training.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I was employed as a criminalist one,
Well, what day was your first day at work, ma'am?
January 24th.
January 24th? On January 23rd, you were not a criminalist one, is that right?
That is correct.
And on January 23rd, you had no prior experience doing crime scene collection, is that right?
That is correct.
On January 24th, you become a criminalist one, is that right?
That's right.
As of January 24th, though, you still had no experience doing any crime scene collection, is that correct?
That's correct.
So with respect to crime scene collection, even though you are a criminalist one as of January 24th, 1994, weren't you in training in crime scene collection as late as June 13th, 1994?
It depends on how you use the word training.
Well, would you consider yourself a trainee as of June 13th, 1994?
Greatest trainee in what?
Overruled.
A trainee in the technical aspect, no. A trainee in the discretionary viewing of a crime scene, yes.
Page 689.
Yeah, I'll check this, Your Honor. It's not inconsistent. Yeah, that was best.
All right, let me see the transcript, please. Mr. Robertson, I need the transcript. please. All right, thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Ms. Ms. I'm
Excuse me,
sorry.
counsel? Counsel? Mr. Neufeld.
Ms. Mazzola, does the LAPD SID Bureau have a probationary period for new employees?
Yes, they do.
Excuse me?
Yes, they do.
And how long does it last?
Probation is 6 months.
And on June 13th, were you still on probation?
Yes,
So you were a probationary employee as of the time that you did the collection in this case, is that correct?
that's correct.
It wouldn't be fair to say, ma'am, that as of June 13th, 1994, that one would classify you as a crime scene trainee.
In crime scene techniques, no. In the discretionary area, yes.
Ma'am, at the hearing on August 23rd, were you asked these questions and did you give these answers?
Over.
Question. And when did you commence your training in crime scene collection? Answer. Exact date, I'm not sure. Question. Well, the approximate date. Answer. Approximately a month after I began working at the lab. Question. That would be sometime around the beginning of March 1994. Answer. Sometime February, I believe. Question. And what did that training entail? Answer. I went out to the crime scenes with more experienced criminalists and assisted them and also learned the different techniques that they employ. Question. And I take it currently, as of right now, today, you are still a trainee in crime scene collection, is that correct? Answer. I would go out with a criminalist 3 to a crime scene. So yes, I guess you would classify me as a crime scene trainee. Question. And how long will that status continue before you are no longer a trainee? Answer. I believe it is for 1 year. Were you asked those questions and did you give those answers on August 23rd at that hearing?
Yes,
And when you gave that testimony on August 23rd, you were testifying truthfully, is that correct?
yes,
You're
that's
testifying accurately, is that right?
to my best of recollection.
And would you agree that prior to your joining the LAPD, you had absolutely no prior experience with crime scene processing, is that right?
Well, they was to direct or
That's correct.
Hmm?
That is correct.
And when you joined the LAPD in January of 1994, you were given a full-time assignment to a particular unit, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it is the purpose of LAPD to assign you to a particular unit so you can develop your skills in that area, is that right?
So we can learn their methods, yes.
And would it be fair to say that the SID criminalists have many different units and many different disciplines?
That's correct.
And one of these disciplines would be, I think you referred to yours as toxicology, is that right?
That's right.
And another subspecialty would be serology, is that right?
That's right.
Question documents might be a third.
That is not staffed by criminalists.
How about trace evidence,
Yes, trace evidence.
right? And then there's another unit, which is called crime scene processing, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, you weren't assigned to crime scene processing when you joined the LAPD in January of 1994, isn't that right?
I believe, is that the field unit you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I was not assigned to the field unit.
You were assigned to toxicology.
That is correct.
But there are other people at SID who are assigned full-time to processing crime scenes, isn't that correct?
They take their turns on rotation.
Well, other than the people who take their turns on rotation, isn't it true that there are at least 2 people who are full-time processing crime scenes as part of the field unit?
I don't recall that. I'm not positive if that's true or not.
You don't know one way or the other?
No.
Now, you also mentioned, ma'am, that that you're a member of the California Association of Criminalists.
That's correct.
And have you ever taken any courses from the California Criminalistics Institute?
Yes.
But the courses you took were not in crime scene processing, were they?
No.
You haven't taken any courses in crime scene processing outside the LAPD, have you?
Not yet, no.
Now, you mentioned also on direct examination that you attended this thing called the Mini Academy,
Yes.
that right?
Correct.
And that's offered by the Los Angeles Police Department
Right, SID.
when you joined
That's
in
right.
January of 1994. Now, it's not really an academy in the formal sense of the word, is it, ma'am?
It is training, lectures, and hands-on training.
Well, are you familiar with the Los Angeles Police Department Police Academy?
A little bit familiar with it.
Well, they
yes.
have their own building, don't they?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have any separate building for your
No.
instruction, do you?
No.
In fact, what you're talking about, this mini academy, is really employees of the SID getting together once a week to hear lectures. Isn't that right, on various topics?
No.
Well, doesn't it meet every Thursday or something like that?
It is more of a classroom type situation,
And how often does it meet?
once a week.
And there's no textbook assigned to read, is that correct?
That's correct.
And there are no books that are actually distributed to the people who attend this mini academy, isn't that correct?
And that is correct.
In fact, this mini academy is given in the same room that houses your kitchen, your cafeteria, isn't that right? Isn't that it?
Sometimes it is.
Now, have you heard of the California Association of Criminalists Certificate of Professional Competency?
I have not heard of that, no.
Well, have you heard of the American Board of Criminalists Certificate of Professional Competency?
I don't believe so, no.
Have you been awarded a Certificate of Professional Competency as a criminalist by any entity in America?
No.
Now, you said that on the morning of June 13th, you received a phone call because you were the next in rotation. Is that right, Ms. Mazzola?
I was on call, yes.
And whenever there is a major crime scene, such as this one, is it SID's goal to have two criminalists work the scene? Is that their goal?
I am not sure what their goal is. All I know is I was on call. I was assigned with the Crim 3.
And you said that the rotation picks a different criminalist each week.
You were on call for either a week or the weekend.
And you said that other than yourself, you're not sure whether there are two full-time criminalists who were assigned to the field unit to handle crime scene processing?
During the day is when the field unit takes the calls. The criminalists on rotation are assigned to cover the nights and the weekends.
All right. But during the day, even back in June of 1994, there was a special unit, and it was staffed by two full-time criminalists, correct, to handle crime scene processing.
It's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Well, ma'am, are you aware that the members of the crime scene unit, full-time members of the crime scene unit who handle the calls on weekdays, are all people who have a lot more experience than you have,
Assumes a fact non-reference.
subject to connection, Your Honor?
Overruled. You know that?
They do have more experience, yes.
And are you aware that SID often sends out two experienced criminalists to major homicide crime scenes?
No, it's available.
Sustained.
The morning of June 13th, 1994, who telephoned you at home?
Detective Headquarters Division.
And who was the person who actually called you?
I don't remember his name exactly. He was from DHD.
And what did that person tell you?
No, it's
It's to explain subsequent conduct, I take it?
Yes.
All right. What were you told?
He said that we had a scene. It was a 187, and he gave me the address,
What does 187 stand for?
homicide.
And did he tell you it was a double homicide?
I believe so, yes.
And on that phone call, did he mention that Mr. Simpson was a possible suspect?
No, no names are given.
No names at all?
No names.
Did he say anything at all, other than it was a crime scene involving a double homicide?
This point's irrelevant.
Sustained.
Your Honor, it has to do with the next action she's going to take.
Sustained. Proceed.
Was any form filled out in the truck on the way to Rockingham?
Yes,
By the way, before you got to Rockingham, in fact, when you got to SID, did you learn any more information about this crime scene?
no,
All you knew at that point was it was a crime scene involving a double homicide, nothing more.
nothing more.
And what document did you fill out in the truck on the way to Rockingham?
Start filling out the front of the field notes.
Show you what's been previously marked as Defense Exhibit Number 1107. Let me ask you, well, actually, it's easier on the screen. Is that the document you filled out?
Yes,
And on that document, that's where you said that under officer in charge, you put in your name, is that correct?
yes,
And of course, you did this before you arrived at Rockingham, right?
that's correct.
But you did it after you had conversations with Mr. Fung, is that correct?
That's correct.
So just so I understand it, before you arrived at Rockingham, it was your understanding that you were going to be the officer in charge at a double homicide, is that correct?
My name is under officer in charge because I was a criminalist on call at the time.
Ma'am, didn't you say that a decision was made after you got to Rockingham that you would no longer be the officer in charge? Is that correct? Didn't you testify to that on direct examination?
Yes,
Well, if a decision was made after you got to Rockingham that you would no longer be the officer in charge, then isn't it correct that before you got to Rockingham, you were considered the officer in charge? Isn't that right?
not really, no.
Ma'am, OIC stands for officer in charge, right?
That's correct.
Doesn't say next on rotation, does it?
That's correct.
Doesn't say next on call, does it?
That's
It
correct.
says who is the officer in charge, and then there's another line that says the name of the assistant,
That's correct.
and that's who's going to assist the officer in charge.
Correct.
You didn't like cross out OIC when you were in the van and write in not really or something like that before you put in your name?
Sustained.
Well, when you wrote in your name next to OIC, you knew that it meant officer in charge, correct?
Correct.
And you were identifying yourself as the officer in charge on a double homicide. Is that correct?
This is argument.
Sustained. Counsel, let's move on.
When you arrived at Rockingham, the first thing that happened is that the detectives briefed you on the situation?
They briefed Mr. Fung.
Were you present for that briefing?
I was present, yes.
Well, you arrived in your truck, you got out, and where was the first place that you went to?
into the front courtyard area.
with Mr. Fung, right?
Right,
And that's where you encountered the detectives.
correct.
You say the front courtyard area, you mean immediately in front of Mr. Simpson's front door?
On the driveway area in that vicinity.
And approximately, the driveway area in front of his front door, though,
Yes,
in the vicinity of where you collected item number 7?
yes,
And that's where the discussion was held with the detectives?
yes.
And approximately how long did that discussion last?
I have no idea.
Well, at this point in time, you had only filled out one form, correct? The cover sheet of the Crime Scene Investigation Unit, isn't that right?
Yes,
And now, during these several minutes, you're having a discussion, or you are listening to a discussion between Dennis Fung and the detectives at the scene. Is that right?
that's right.
And how many detectives are there approximately?
I honestly can't recall how many.
Well, was it just one detective, or were there more than one?
It was more than one.
Was there more than 2?
I believe so.
And at that point, those detectives gave you an idea of what items they wanted you to collect in that discussion during those 5 minutes?
They told Mr. Fung what they were interested in, and he came back and told me.
You said they told Mr. Fung, and then he came back and told you. You mean you didn't actually get into this little discussion that Fung was having with the detectives?
No,
You didn't hear it?
And I didn't make a motion to strike that part of the witness's testimony about personal knowledge.
Overruled.
excuse me, would you please repeat the question?
Is the reason that you did not participate in that initial discussion with detectives is because you and he already made a decision that he would in fact be the officer in charge now instead of you?
That, and he seemed to be able to communicate more with the detectives. I was standing off in the background, sort of listening, but he was the one that was doing the talking with the
He was
detectives.
more assertive with the detectives than you were.
Right,
And you said in addition to that, at the beginning of this discussion, he informed you of his decision that he would now be the officer in charge instead of you?
yes,
That happened right at the beginning of that discussion.
more or less, yes.
Okay. And how long did you say that discussion lasted with the other detectives?
I have no idea.
Well, would it be more than a half hour or less than a half hour?
Less than a half hour, but beyond that, I have no idea.
Now, after this discussion, and after Dennis Fung told you that he was going to be the officer in charge, you then went over and looked at certain items of evidence?
Yes,
And which was the first item that you then looked at?
the Bronco,
And is that the first time you were told about the Bronco?
yes,
And is it at that moment that you then filled out the crime scene investigation sheet for the Bronco?
yes,
I thought it was item 4:30. They were telling me it's 4:30 PM. And you're having
That's why I
fun.
have clocks all over the courtroom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. However, I'm going to ask you to step back into the jury room briefly before we recess as far as the jury is concerned. And Ms. Mazzola, you may step down. You're ordered to return tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Don't discuss your testimony with anybody except for the lawyers, please. All right? Thank you very much. And Neufeld, people represented by Mr. Goldberg and Mr. Darden. All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. As to what? As to what?
On a matter,
What matter? Does it have to do with Ms. Mazzola?
No, it doesn't.
Your Honor,
All right, then let's...
I have something that does have to do with Ms. Mazzola.
Mine will take 60 seconds.
60 seconds, Mr. Cochran.
But who's counting? Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, at the kidding, Your Honor. At the end of the day yesterday, and I brought this matter to your attention, I thought I should put it on the record. After our hearings in chambers, which were confidential hearings, Mr. Shapiro and I came out, and we were out in the courtroom. We were just about to leave, and I had to go back into the hallway there, and something very disturbing occurred as far as I was concerned. As the court is aware, the commander, Holland, I guess his name is, of the Sheriff's Department, had said in all the interviews. And I then saw the district attorneys, the two district attorneys, going into the jury room to have a private meeting with the sheriff's commander. Now, that's been our concern from the very beginning, that this man who's over all the sheriffs who sit with our jurors would impart special information to the DA's office. I don't know what they were talking about. They didn't invite us back there, and I indicated to the court my concern right yesterday afternoon when this meeting was going on. We then left the court. But I think that it's certainly, from an appearance standpoint, it's absolutely outrageous to have something like that happen, and it's unfortunate. And I wanted to document it on the record. I did bring it to the court's attention right away, and the meeting, I don't know how long the meeting went on, but it did in fact take place, and I think it's entirely inappropriate for the district attorneys to meet with the representative from the Sheriff's Department who are sitting with our jury, and it only fans the flames, and I want to indicate that for the record, Your Honor.
All right, thank you,
very kindly.
Mr. Neufeld.
Your Honor, can Ms. Mazzola step out for 1 second, please?
Certainly. Ms. Mazzola. Mr. Neufeld.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, on January 20th, you issued an order instructing all fact witnesses in this case to refrain from watching any television or listening to any radio coverage about the trial and testimony having to do with that in any way may pertain to the subject matter of their own testimony. As you may recall, when Ms. Mazzola testified on Thursday, she acknowledged that she had been listening to radio coverage of the case and testimony, and in fact, there was a radio even in the toxicology laboratory that was broadcasting the trial live. She also mentioned that there are other radios all over the SID laboratory that are covering the trial live. In fact, there's a television in the cafeteria doing that as well.
I heard the testimony.
And, you know, Your Honor, two things. One is I realize that your order creates an exception for experts. I don't believe that Ms. Mazzola is an expert. First of all, she's a criminalist, one. I don't believe she would meet the criteria for an expert as you envisioned it when you issued this order. Secondly, and more importantly, Your Honor, to the extent that she does give opinion testimony, as does, for instance, Detectives Lang and Van Adder as well can give opinion testimony, they are first and foremost fact witnesses in this case, as opposed to the classic example of an expert, which I'm sure the court had in mind. Your Honor, I think it's one thing if a neighbor, for instance, who testifies, who was walking...
What are you asking for?
I'm asking for an instruction, Your Honor, to this jury that they should take into consideration the fact that apparently the prosecutors failed to instruct these witnesses at SID not to listen to the coverage of the trial. I'm also worried, in a broader sense, that every single witness, they have about 6 or 7 people from SID who are going to be testifying who are fact witnesses, and apparently the trial is being covered live as we speak throughout the SID laboratory, and all the people are listening to it on a regular basis who will be coming into court and testifying. I think that clearly violates both the letter and the spirit of your ruling. I think it's completely different, Your Honor, if a civilian witness who comes in here happened to watch something on the television, listen to it on the radio. But when you have people who are actually under the control, or at least there's some possible direct control here by the District Attorney's Office of the Los Angeles Police Department, and those people have either have not been admonished, or they've been admonished and ignored the admonition.
Have you drafted an instruction to the jury?
No, but I can do so during the luncheon break, Your Honor.
Mr. Goldberg?
Your Honor, as I recall the court's order, and I read it, it did exempt expert witnesses. And the witnesses that we are calling are all expert witnesses. And we don't have a sliding scale for expertise where somehow people with PhDs are treated differently than people with bachelor's degrees. These are expert witnesses who are trained in crime scene processing. Other SID witnesses are expert witnesses who are trained in analysis and are going to be testifying as expert witnesses. If the court will recall the cross-examination on Mr. Fung, there are several things that I bring up. Number one, he was given a lengthy series of hypothetical questions. We don't allow those questions for anyone other than an expert witness. He was cross-examined about treatises that he's read.
The issue is Ms. Mazzola, not Mr. Fung.
Well, he just lumped...
Focus your attention on Ms. Mazzola.
Okay, but Your Honor, I don't distinguish between the two, and that's my point. I don't say that we have a sliding scale of expertise. She has gone to school, she has graduated, she has read textbooks on crime scene processing, she has been trained in crime scene processing, she is going to be asked to render certain opinions about what she did and the effects that it had, and so on. And what we are trying to decide is whether prospectively the prosecution had a duty to misinterpret the court's plain order that exempted expert witnesses and reinterpret. I think misinterpret. Because, I mean, it seems like there's a rule of statutory construction that unless there's some ambiguity in the language, you interpret it the way it's written. And that is what I did. But I'd just like to try to look at this prospectively from the prosecution standpoint. What has happened with our SID witnesses? They've been asked about things that they did not witness. Mr. Fung was examined extensively about a blanket that was placed upon Nicole's body that occurred before he arrived at the crime scene. He was questioned about the movement of objects that occurred before he arrived at the crime scene. He was questioned about whether the location had been cleared for footprints before he arrived at the crime scene.
You have to assume that since I was here, I was probably listening to the testimony.
I know, but I'm just trying to highlight the significant points of it. And they were asked about coroner's activity. One of the ways that you can question an expert witness is by giving them a hypothetical. And another way, and it is a proper way, is to ask the witness, have you viewed the testimony? Have you listened to the testimony? And based upon what you have heard, what opinions did you render? That is an appropriate way of questioning an expert witness. It's not used as frequently as the hypothetical, but it is used. And if our witnesses are going to be questioned as they have about things that they didn't witness, didn't hear, it would be proper, perhaps even advisable, if we had instructed them, not only do I not want you to avoid this, but I want you to sit down and listen to every single witness who testified about anything regarding crime scene processing, because you are going to be questioned about it. You are going to be asked to render opinions about it and conclusions about it. So you should look at the crime scene photographs, videotapes. You should listen to all of the testimony, because you are being held accountable in the cross-examination for all of that material. And as an expert witness, you can be held accountable for it. And there is no basis upon which to distinguish between any of our scientists at SID. And I think that kind of an instruction would be entirely improper. But what I would ask the court to do, and I was thinking about this before Mr. Neufeld raised it, is to instruct the jury, since they don't know, that the court did issue an order that exempted expert witnesses. I was thinking the exact opposite of what Mr. Neufeld is, because they have been implying through their questioning...
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
That there is something improper about what has happened here. And what immediately occurred to me is, well, wait a minute. The jury should know that there is an order that exempts expert witnesses, and we would be asking for an instruction to that effect.
Have you drafted any such instruction?
No, I haven't, Your Honor, but I will draft an instruction. And what I would propose to do probably would be simply to draft an instruction that's along the lines of the language that the court used in its order, that says that we apply a different rule towards expert witnesses, and here was my order that I gave out to the prosecution and to the defense.
All right. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you.
All right. The court will decline at this time to instruct the jury regarding this issue. The court's order regarding expert witnesses does cover anybody from the Scientific Investigation Division. It's not reasonable to expect a court to go witness by witness as to whether or not they're an expert given this particular category of witnesses. Secondly, the defense has the right to cross-examine as to what exposure Ms. Mazzola has had, and that is fair game for cross-examination. All right, let's have the jurors, please. Let's have Ms. Mazzola.
Okay, chat, we have reached a stopping point for the night, and we'll continue this tomorrow. Let's go here. All right, and a shout out to the channel members and Miss C and Pussycat for gifting memberships. That was very kind to do. And shout out to all the members of the channel as well, and those that view and watch the content that are not members either. That is okay too. And now, we had an interesting review on the partner of Fung and how she was, she was being questioned about the Bronco and how she handled the evidence. And there was back and forth by the defense and the state. So it was an interesting night. We had a good time with the chat fam, and good night, everybody. Thank you all for coming, and peace.